Yes, good night, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are, people. Let me welcome you to this another episode of the Saudichress show. And boy, I tell you, it's a long time, but you can imagine there are so many going in the world of football, so many news, interesting news, I must say. What can we say tonight, ladies and gentlemen? Of course, we have a whole lot to discuss. But the main thing we're looking at tonight, coaches. It is probably one of the hottest topic in football over the weekend into today. The movement of coaches, whether through resignation, whether they were fired, whether they decided to step away to give the sport a break. So interesting. The last time I did a show, if my memory serves me right, we were looking at Coach Charles Grimsey, the Reggae Boys. Yes, the impact of Coach Charles Grimson's resignation. That took a whole lot of discussion in and around social media. A matter of fact, when I go to mainstream media, it was all over the place as well. And so you see, the rest is history. Al Grimson is now the coach of Ireland, which we have mentioned already. Stale news. But just to say, big bad England coach. I don't know. I don't know. But Gareth Southgate has walked away from the English football team. He has resigned as coach. Interestingly, after reaching the Euro finals, just lost 2-1, narrowly lost 2-1 to Spain. Of course, I think Spain was the better team. But you have made it to the final and you decided to walk away. You see, this whole set of coaching news, people, I wonder why. What are the scope of these resignations? What are the scope that would have led to some of our coaches walking away? And we break it down, people, to our own Jamaican system. Yes, what is happening here in Jamaica? I tell you, what is happening? We have seen a whole lot of movement, a wide scale movement of our coaches in Jamaica. In what I say, the JPL, coaches in the JPL, people. Also, in the schoolboy football, coaches have been moving around. But if you think this is interesting, you wait until we get into the crook of the matter. But before I go, let me urge you people, don't have me alone talking. I need to hear from you, yes? And let me share with you the link to the live studio. If you want to just jump in for a moment or two, yes? To discuss or to share your views. That's the link in the chat. I urge you, I invite you to come on. But please ensure that you like, yes, share and subscribe to the channel. Big up Tom Stranger, I've not seen or heard from you for a while. What's going on, bro? How are you doing? Blessed man, Storm Stranger ever present, but he took a break, just like many of us. Part of the Saudichress family. So as I said, people, please ensure that you like, share, and subscribe. And if and so, the number running below the screen there. If you want to call to share your views, WhatsApp number 876-501-6625. And if you even want to call it straight as we say here in Jamaica, 501-6625. Yeah man, big up yourself, my boss. What say you? So as it is, and the thumbnail that we had put out earlier for the show, you know, where we actually getting news. The Saudichress family, this show has gotten some very vital news of coaches that are moving around. Big up yourself for us out of Canada. Good evening, Mr. Saudi. How is it going? I'm here giving thanks. I'm giving thanks, my boss. Yes, recovering from the dreaded burial. Yes, man, we are back and just now with some very, very good news. Very bad news for some. But these are interesting news. Remember to like the show too. That's yeah. All right. Good going. Good going so far. But as I mentioned, and when you look at what we put across, yes, if you remember what we showed you, there's a number of coaches moving in and out of different clubs and schools. The schoolboy football coming up shortly. There are so many people. I have some great plans. I should have started some pre-season interviews, yes, but all sort of things came in. Beryl came in, and even today I went for an interview, and the rains were like crazy. Yes, so that's sort of it. But one of the interesting thing, people, and we have done it as well, where we have seen top level coaches, I would say, in Jamaica's term. Some of the top coaches in Jamaica have lost their jobs. Some of the top level coaches, yes, man, has lost their jobs, people. You wonder if the business of football is start to increase or being popular, the real business of football now in Jamaica has kicking, has gone to a high. I'm saying that to say because we have seen coaches every year just moving around, floating around. The clubs, the managers of club teams and schoolboy teams, they are really seems to be, what would I say now, a sort of uh, no nonsense mode as it relates to performance and results. This business is a part of what we have said is a result driven game, not just football, but because of what has been circulated, what have been spent, the type of resources that have been pumped into football from all angles around the world, it is very unlikely that you won't have this type of business. But there's this one interesting story that I want to look at coming out of Harborview Football Club. The Harborview Football Club, as you know, the coach Ludley Bernard himself walked away after the last game last Premier League season. I think that game was played against, was it Waterhouse? Yes. And interestingly, when I saw a particular news and I saw the news earlier and I got into it, I said, oh, I do remember the last interview Ludlow Bernard had. And so who knows what would have happened. But coming out of Harborview Football Club, people, the story that transpired, yes, has to do with Bernard going away from coaching duties, but apparently has gone to the boardroom of Harborview Football Club. Interesting. But you see, who knows? Nothing in life is sure. And if anybody want to contest that, you can say something else. Nothing in life is sure. But Ludlow Bernard has Sean Mataran. Yes, you know Sean Fraser, right? He was the assistant coach of Ludlow, I think, for over maybe some 3 or 4 years now. And as expected in this climate, that if the assistant coach, this is not like a situation where a coach coming with a backroom staff. So when the manager or the head coach should have resigned, then the entire backroom staff would have gone with it. But Sean Fraser's people was looking forward to elevate or to be elevated to the top coach, Chinjab of Harborview. But that wasn't the case. Morning, because Paul, I catch you, man. Coming out of the UK, so morning for you. Bless up yourself, man. Paul, I share the link, I know you want to. Let me share it again, Paul. And if you want to jump in for a minute, because maybe you have to give us a little lowdown of what's happening in your neck of the woods out in England there, yes? Say what's going on with the English team. We are in England gonna get a coach. Is it that they're going for an English coach, Paul? Just give us some update, man. So that's the link, Paul. Jump on it and come on the show and talk to us. All right. So, people, Sean Fraser, who was the assistant coach for a number of years to Ludlow Bernard at Harborview, he was not even given the opportunity. Let me take it back up. Based on information, he was not even invited for an interview. No problem, Paul. Take as much minutes as you want. Just make sure you come on. Yes, he did not even given an opportunity to be interviewed for the job. As the assistant coach, something is wrong. I really don't understand. But if Sean Fraser was such a coach, yes, and I say such a coach, I'm not trying to downplay his capability or his capacity to be a head coach. Why didn't Harborview look in his direction? Is it a fact that Ludlow Bernard would have recommended, and from his recommendation, Sean Fraser was not a part of it? Because I don't think they just go for one coach. A matter of fact, people, the Harborview football team head coach now is, I guess he was the fitness trainer. Yes. But there are some persons, and I had a conversation with a coach. Yes, he's a coach, but not gonna call him any name. I have a conversation with a coach today, and what I was told is that it seems to be embarrassing that the fitness trainer would have been elevated to the head coach over the assistant coach. What's your thought about that? What's your take on that, people? Do you think that has any bearing, really? Do you believe that there's an issue? Would you believe, or should I say, what's your take on the fact that the assistant coach is not being looked at, but the physical trainer is now the head coach? My perspective, my view, I don't see it as a big deal. No, I really don't see it as a big deal. The reason being, since it is a business, maybe that physical trainer has done all the coaching courses and he knows about the coaching. Maybe he has been working as an assistant coach as well, but just major in the physical aspect of the team. I understand. So, I don't really see it as a big deal. What to me is a big deal is the fact that they never even invite the assistant coach for an interview. And I was even told that the person who got the job was not the only person who they interviewed. Not the only person. But saying that, people, saying that, I want to say to every single football fans here and every football lover, if you believe that it is important that we do, or we have a seamless transition in moving from coach to assistant or from assistant to coach, in the nature of what's happening now in football, I don't think so. I really don't think so. So Sean Fraser is out of Harborview football club. He felt scammed in a football way, people. He felt that he was really marginalized. And I would have think so. I would have felt so too. I would have felt so. But it's good if I could hear from, you know, somebody from the football hierarchy from Harborview. I am wondering if we could get my very good friend on the show tonight. But we're just gonna leave that for thought. Gonna leave that for thought. Because it won't stop here. It won't. I was reading something and I have to take a little laugh. But the point I'm making is football in Jamaica now becoming a real business. And if you have a business that you want to be successful, you must look at results. Yes? Must be results driven. So what I was looking at people, it was Saturday that, you know, I heard that Sean Fraser has resigned from the Harborview Football Club, but I didn't know. I never know. Say to this extent, people. May I tell you the truth? I think because Ludlow gone, him gone too. May I tell you? Even though it was not said, even though it was not said. But the main reason is that because he was overlooked, never even given a chance, people. Yes? Never even given a chance. Maybe to apply for the job or to be interviewed. Not even that. Yes? Let me take time out. Give up yourself time, stranger. Welcome, man. What's going on?
Yeah, big up, Mr. Sadi.
Where are you, bro? Long time, no you long time. No say, I know you're over there. But not in New York, I know you're full of information. You know.
No, man, I just. They are going to look just like how you are looking at a whole heap of things are going on. So, yeah, see.
Yeah, man, I only for little thing. I get a feedback on that answer. Hold on there. Check one. I might get a feedback. Hold on there. Check one, two. Oh. So Tom, figure out I get a feedback when your mic is open. So just I want you to come out and come back in. All right?
All right.
Yeah, me people. So what I'm saying, what I heard when I heard of the resignation, I just feel so the man resigned because head coach resigned too. I didn't know that is that. But when I read some more and I listen, I recognize that, you know, just trying to play it around, that this thing is tricky. And somebody said to me that it is Ludlow Bernard who had made the recommendation. I can't believe that. I have to hear from Ludlow himself. Yeah, man, I really have to hear that. So, I'm not say much on it. But just to share what's going on, yes? Just to share. People, that's far about it. Another big news, one that shocked me, is that Leonard Hyde, coach Leonard Teacher Hyde, people. And that's where I want to figure out. So that's why I'm getting a little, I am baffled here. He's no longer at Dumberwoldy. No longer at Dumberwoldy. But what happened? Tell me what happened. Yes, Tom.
You still I get the same feedback?
I'm still I get it. But that's fine.
Hold
What
up,
I
hold
allow
up.
you
It's
to
probably
do.
a two neck fan, sorry. Hold up.
Yes, Tom? Sir Lee.
Good night, Sir Sadi.
Good night, man. Good night, man. Late for the
I'm Mr.
class.
Stranger.
Yeah, Mr. Stranger. I'm getting a feedback from Stranger.
Yeah, man, and all of the massive and crew in the chat, you know.
Yes, Sir Lee. Some very interesting thing. You know, I'm not from down at your side, I go on with the coach. Your coach still in top boss?
Why I saw them, you know, when I come get some information from you, you know.
No man, you're a coach me I talk about at this time.
Oh, from a D Cup team?
Mm.
Yeah, man.
You know fire.
No, I know me I am. No, but my coach good, man. Coach
Okay.
good. We coach good. Coach,
Okay.
I will support 100%, man. All good.
That's it.
Ready. Up
Yeah
and
man,
ready for the season now come, you know?
I no couldn't mad for fire that coach again.
No, man.
Just
Fire away,
saying,
man.
man. But before you came on, Miss Ali, I was just addressing some situations that I've seen out there. Yes? And I have seen now, I'm not sure, but I need some people to give me some real information here. That Lenny Hyde has been fired from Dumbo. Yes, sir. One, two, three. Mr. Lee, Mr. Lee. That's from our robots. So,
Big up yourself, RR.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Tom Stranger, blessings. Tom, tell me say your story, man.
Him, sorry, him, I don't, yeah, a fire him get fire or resign him resign. Now what went down?
Well, it is not 100%, but the information that I have received is that he was dismissed.
Oh, okay. But what about the hiring of the Harbour View coach? What do you think about that?
As I said earlier, that is very strange. I don't have a problem with it. The truth about it as it relates to him, I don't know much about him as a coach. Even as I don't know nothing about him, I must say. To be honest, I heard his name before, I saw him before, but I never really get into it. Maybe the above you Iraq would have seen much more in him than just a physical trainer. Yes, I want to take the time out and welcome Sir Paul Whittick, English base, the man who have the information from over England. Sir Paul, what's going on?
Morning, 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 Kevin. Morning, Tom. Morning. We have there Mr. Lee and
Good
Yes,
morning,
somebody with
Mr. Whitty.
technical
Good morning.
issues, Mr.
yes, Paul.
Stranger. What you
Yeah.
say?
Yes,
So
Paul. Good
Paul,
morning. Good
I,
morning
I,
and
look,
your end and everything, you know.
I look like you have a screechy, Paul. Like you can't come out too loud or too bright tonight. I want. You don't want to wake up the missus.
I'm in the car, you know.
Oh, so,
I've been,
listen.
I've been told I chat too loud, so I'm in the car.
Oh yeah, yeah. On your way to work?
No, well, I was on the way to the gym early because I was starting work early today. So it's coming up to 3 o'clock in the morning here, 3 a.m. But my gym's 24 hours, so I like to do. It's part of my routine. I have to do gym every day. Somehow I'd squeeze it in somewhere. And I'm playing a charity football match on Sunday, so I have to do my work this week to be ready for that. Even though it's a charity game, like them say, there's no such thing as a friendly game. It's nonsense. There's no such thing as a charity game. Once you cross the white line, I'll be competing to make sure I do well. So yeah,
So
early
Paul,
for me.
we are looking at um, coaching moving around.
Hmm.
But I am pretty much surprised of the resignation of your team coach. What's going on? What would have led to his resignation?
Well, in truth, I'm not so surprised because there was a lot of talk before the tournament that even if England had won, that Southgate was going to leave anyway. Um, I think what you have to think, and people listening to this that coach, whether it's football, cricket, athletics, whatever sport, when you're a coach, it's challenging enough coaching an individual. Say you're doing athletics. When you're coaching a team, the energy it takes is a lot, and there sometimes comes a point, like our beloved Jurgen Klopp, where you kind of come to a conclusion that I can't take this group any further than I've taken them. And let's remember, as a coach, you reflect, you analyze. That's all part of what you do, and that's how you make your charge is better. And sometimes that analysis sits on yourself and you have to say, I can't do any more. He's taken England to 2 European finals and come up short on both occasions. You could say against Italy that England should have won that game but didn't because he was reluctant to make changes. Whilst he made late changes in this tournament, you can't say he didn't make changes that didn't have the impact of getting England to the finals. But they were late changes to the point where he's in a press conference talking about upsetting even Tony, which is a man that I wouldn't personally want to upset. Look upon the size of him. But that's where it is. And, you know, in some ways I felt that was an inappropriate comment. That was sort of throwing a player under the bus to say, oh, there's a little bit of rift between me and a player in the group. But there's lots of factors there, Kevin. If we review England, you know, what will come out in the wash is that clearly Harry Kane wasn't fully fit. You've got Jude Bellingham, who's had an explosive season, but he probably wasn't fully fit. You've got a left back who they'd got back to a level of fitness who'd not played since about February, and then eventually came in. But in the meantime, you had a right-footed defender playing left back, which never really works. So there was lots of things where some of the decisions that he made in terms of assembling the squad, you have to question. But a lot of the chat was that he was going to go anyway. And again, he'd been there 8 years. His record speaks for itself. He's not won a trophy, but in terms of stats, he's one of the most successful England managers. So, you know, he walks away with his head held high. Whether or not he can do that in club football now remains to be seen because, you know, the week-to-week challenges of training, recovering players playing, training, recovering players training, is very different to international where the clubs are looking after the players. You get them together, nice little atmosphere at St George's Park, and then, you know, you go somewhere exotic sometimes for a nice little game. Everyone's buzzing. You know, the meet, it's like going to your job, you know. You go to your job every day and it starts to grate on you sometimes, even if it's a job you love. But it becomes just like, oh, that's my job. That's like club football. But international is like, oh, this is exciting. It's a bit fun. You get that lift, you get that buzz, you're representing your country. So then it's about, can you put the best team out, which isn't always the best players in your country. England have done this before. In the era of Gerrard and Lampard and Scholes, they couldn't work out how to put those guys in a decent midfield. And probably what should have happened is they didn't play all three of them. Because then you had people like Lampard or Gerrard, natural right footers on the left-hand side. And that wasn't really in an era where we played with inverted wingers or inverted players left on the right on the left. So England have got form. They've got form on this. But I can remember being part of an amateur coach consultation which went out to all coaches around the UK when they launched the Licensed Coaches Club, must be nearly 15 years ago, talking about how they can improve the English game and this and that. And I was recently at a coaches conference, and one of the coach educators from the FA come and spoke to me, and he spoke privately, so I won't say his name. And he said to me, one of the problems is during the recent restructure, a lot of the coaches that had got years of coaching experience and coach education experience were let go, and people that reapplied for those jobs or applied for those jobs were often like from an academic area, like teachers. They weren't really coaches, didn't have coaching experience. And I can testify to that because when we broke out into the workshops and groups in that conference, I was being spoken to like a student in school, and I was just like, no, I'm not being spoken to like a coach to coach. I don't feel we're sharing and engaging. I feel like, you know, that somebody just needs a blackboard with some chalk and I'll be back in school. And that's part of the problem that now what happens, the players are overbriefed, and in the moment they can't think. They can't think in the moment because they're just thinking about a briefing they've had for days about this and that, and don't do that. The kind of the freedom, you know, you look at the Spanish kid Lamal, And the goal he scored, if you look back at clips of him from when he was at Barcelona from 5, 6 years old, whatever it is, he scored that goal 100 times. Scored that goal 100 times. And his Spanish team is still giving a 16-year-old the freedom to say, yeah, if you get a moment, just do whatever you do. Whereas English players, no, stay in shape, do this, do that. So by the time they go on the pitch, they've got so much in their heads. That's why they're free sometimes, in my opinion, because they're being coached not by football people sometimes. They're being coached by non-coaches, as I call them, non-football people. Harry Redknapp summed it up. There was a clip that was going around social media where Harry Redknapp says, how many coaches that coach now actually play 5-a-side or even play 11-a-side at a weekend? Most of them finish their job on a Friday and they don't pick football up until a Monday. And that's the problem that we have, which I've gone off on a bit of a tangent, I know, but that's me. But yeah, I mean, it's all over because, you know, you're talking about the Jamaica national team and changes with the coaching structure there. And I think what's happened across the world in football, you see structural change. So look at Liverpool, where you've gone from having a manager, which was Jurgen Klopp, to Slot being head coach. And even in his interview, I saw an interview that he did to Liverpool TV where he says, yeah, I'm happy with being the head coach. That's the structure I had when I was at Feyenoord. I don't need to be the manager. There's other people doing those kind of roles.
So hold on. Let me just cut you a bit apart. So am I to believe that Liverpool will not have a manager? We just have a head coach. Or there's a manager and a head coach?
No. So Slot's position is head coach. That's his title. For all intents and purposes, he's the manager of the team. He'll pick the team, or lead training and stuff like that. But what it means is there's certain things that he doesn't have the responsibility for, because that would fall with the manager. But they're not going to put in a manager above him. It'll just mean that, like, sporting directors and things like that, they will take the charge in other areas. So that might be...
I want you to help me out and help out some of the reviewers here, because I don't fully understand the major difference. Are they different in terms of responsibility as it relates to a coach as opposed to a manager? What are give me about 2 or 3 roles that you say that the manager would do which the coach doesn't?
So the manager would be all over everything. So transfers of players going out, transfers of players coming in, involvement in where the contracts sit in terms of terms and conditions of those contracts. The manager would be pushing for certain players on the market, whereas a head coach is just that. They coach the first team. Dependent again on their contract, they may only have first team responsibility, whereas a manager would be looking to work throughout the whole of the club and have their philosophy imprinted from the academy, from the youngest age, right the way through. So that what you then have is your 16s, your under 17s, 18s, your under 21s, 23s, that if something happens to the first team, they can just drop straight into the system. That's where a manager has tentacles in every aspect of the club and the business of running that club. Whereas a coach is just that. Head coach is just that. They're about the football. They're about the tactics the team play, who the team are. They'll have some involvement in transfers, but generally there'll be a sporting director that deals with that, or somebody with a different title that deals with that. They might have a panel that then go out and scout and then say, look, we've found this player. Or it might be the club turns around and says, we're buying this player. And that might be because the terms to buy that player are really good. And they see that if this coach can develop that player, in 2 to 3 years' time, they'll get a return on investment. Because like you said earlier, before I was on, football is now big business. Even in the smallest nations, football is big business. And as a result of that, what teams and companies are doing, they're putting in structures that are more like your typical business. So CEOs, COOs, CFOs, like high structural positions that never used to be in football. Never used to be there. If you go back to the era of like Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger, those guys run those clubs. They were the head, what they said went. the design of like the Emirates Stadium, that was the brainchild very much of Arsene Wenger. He said what he wanted as a football stadium to deliver success to Arsenal, you know, and as a result of that, they were one of the first teams to break, I think it was the £3 million barrier for home game receipts, and that was because of his concept for that stadium. That kind of era has gone because the Premier League has very much adopted the European model, where you have structure, you have sporting directors, you have scouts that will present a player to the club, and the club will look at it in all ways, the metrics of the player from a playing point of view, but also in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, if we sell on that player, what that player is going to get for us. Whereas it used to be a manager would be like, oh, I want him, and they wouldn't look at the incumbent players, how he matches. They wouldn't do all the biometric testing that they do now, where they can tell if a player is going to be injury prone or not just by doing blood and urine testing. So there's lots of things that now go into it where the manager doesn't always have a choice. And you hear of it all the time, especially in the Premier League, where a manager will leave and then they say, look, I never was allowed to get my players in. And that's because that's not the model of the club. You know, Brighton's a good example where their scouting is unbelievable, but they are looking for players that are not going to stay with Brighton for 10 years. They're looking to bring them in, sell them on, and make a profit and do it again. And the same with their managers. They know the managers are not going to stay, but the model works for them and it's profitable if you get it right.
Okay. So Paul, how comfortable are you with this situation as it relates to Slot as a coach and not as a manager?
Well, as I said to you, like the podcast before, from the Dutch side, I don't know that much about him, but I've just followed a couple of interviews with him since he's been in the UK, and it says Liverpool TV has been one of those. He seems to have a good grasp of the game. Liverpool, under the Fenway Group ownership, haven't really made a misstep, you know, which includes appointing Klopp and also the expansions they've done to Anfield and stuff like that. They haven't made a misstep, so I can't believe they would get this one wrong either. I can't believe that. So I'm trusting that, you know, the structure that's there, again, very similar, will mean that they've made a good choice. What you've got to think is that the playing squad at Liverpool is healthy. And I think the three key things is that Alisson, Van Dijk and Salah stay, even though there may, in a couple of those, only be 2 or 3 seasons left at a maximum. But as things are, before the younger players step up to replace them, they're very much needed. They're very much the spine of the team. And with that in mind, that's still a team that finished within the top 4 last season, if I remember correctly. It seems like so long ago. But so there's still loads to be really positive about with regards to Liverpool. And it's just whether the players can buy into him and he can engage the players in a short period of time. Because, again, the difficulty is when you have such a impactful manager and leader like Klopp was, like Wenger was, like Ferguson was, it leaves a vacuum. And you've got to remember, some of those lads who are in the team now have been brought, because Klopp was there 9 years, they were like under 16s, and they've grown up with Klopp. They've gone through into the first team with Klopp. So that's a massive, almost like grief that some of them players are going to experience with him gone. And then it's like, do I want to buy into another player, or does he like me? Because sometimes you come in, manager comes in, you're doing the same thing you've always done, they just don't like you for whatever reason. You're like, I ain't doing anything different. You know, I'm not going out partying. I'm keeping my diet in check. My weight's good. I'm doing all the work I need to do. But your face don't fit his plan for whatever reason, and that can happen too. So it's an interesting time. We'll only know once the Premier League kicks off. All the pre-season tours and that, they don't tell you nothing really. Once the Premier League kicks off, we'll know where they are. We'll have to see. Wait and see.
Okay. There's a question. R is asking, Southgate is what? In terms of, was he a coach or a manager?
I would say his role was more manager, because the England manager has to manage a lot of things, which is not just coaching the team. They also are the face of England. So there's work that the manager of England does that we don't even see. And Southgate did have an impact in the age groups coming through, the under 18s for England, 19s, 20s, 21s, etc. So yeah, I would say manager because his role was more than just coaching the team when they got together. It's the bit of an international manager that you don't see when they're doing stuff when there isn't an international game, and they're also being ambassadors around the world for that particular federation or nation. So yeah, he was definitely a manager. Yeah,
Okay,
but
very
the
good.
difference is subtle. It's very subtle. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Paul, it's always a pleasure hearing these good things. Behave yourself, man. His IQ ratings. Listen, Paul, I don't think Paul is aspiring to being England coach anymore, but Paul is a coach, and I don't want you to try to set up. Don't try to pull out my boss. I don't
I
want.
think I
I don't
think I
want to try
prefer
to.
I think I prefer the challenge of the Jamaica national team. To be fair, Kevin,
Would you
it's
like the job?
I'd take the job. I'd
Wow.
check the job, knock some heads together, because you see, okay. So this might be controversial to say,
Mm-hmm.
but as you know, I was in Jamaica just a few weeks ago with my good wife. We
Yes.
had a little break, and one of my frustrations, and I was we went out for dinner this afternoon. This evening after work, and one of the things, like Claire was saying to me, she was like, I hope the next English manager is English. And I was like, I do know what you mean, because I think there's something lost when you look at a team and the manager of that team isn't from that nation. And I know, you look at England women, they've got like Serena Wiegman, who's not English, but she's been very successful. But there's something within me that's like, if it's going to be that national team, at least like, let there be some sort of ancestral link, at least, or at least let the optics look right. I always, you see some of the African teams, and they've got Caucasian managers. I'm like, why is there not? Is there not a good enough coach that can manage that team? That looks like the players, sounds like the players, eats like the players. Do you know what I mean? Like
But
that's you know.
Paul, it's very interesting that you made that declaration, and I know people on the show probably wondering who Paul Emwitik is. Yes. People, let this one clear. This was not something that I hook up as it relates to get this out. It is my cousin, we are telling us straight. But it's not because we are cousins why he's here on the show. This man is a real football analyst. He's a very knowledgeable man of the game. He's a coach. So, Paul, I want to tell the nation, I want to tell the people, especially on this, tell them about your background in terms of coaching and football. So let them understand where you're coming from.
Well, it's interesting because I've just started coaching a new team in the last few weeks that about 6 weeks ago didn't even exist as a team. So we've joined a club called Redwood Colts in Derby, who've worked with young kids for a number of years, and they wanted an adult team added on. So we've now created the first team for them, Redwood Colts adult first team. And we had our first game at the weekend against a Punjab team where we lost 2-1, a very good Punjab team. But my background, I've been involved in football for, I'm now 48, so must be approaching 30 odd years, 30 years plus. In terms of coaching, we're talking 20 good years plus of coaching. Right from the very amateur level of Sunday mornings right up to semi-professional level. And also I had the joy as a player to play at a semi-professional level myself. So on top of that, friends of mine have played at the highest level, which is Premier League football, as well as international football. One of which has played for the Reggae Boys. Won't go into his name too much because I don't want to drop bombs like I'm dropping names. But it's to say that no, man, no, I'm not doing that. No. But the light keeps going off, so you can't see me. 1 second. There you go. So yeah, it's on a self timer because it's an electric car in it, so everything's just like trying to save energy. But
Okay.
so yeah, it's a lifetime really that I've been involved in football in some way, shape, or form. But accredited, with them badges and certificates, it's 25 years plus. And as I say, on the Sunday this week, I'm travelling 3 hours up to the north of the country to play a charity game. So I still play myself, not as much as I can because my size and my age now lets me down. But I coach, and I say it's really exciting to be involved with this Redwood team because it's young lads like 18s, 19s, 20s, 21s kind of age, where some of them haven't played 11-a-side before. They've been like 5-a-side indoor players. And so that's going to be a challenge in itself, getting them used to the spaces and the difference of 11-a-side. But yeah, you could say that I'm a bit of a student of the game, study it when I'm not working. I'm going through information, watching clips, trying to improve my knowledge, and just be better, so I can make players better and make teams better that I work with. I do one-to-one training as well, so people approach me to do just me and them training to make them better. I still referee, so I'm a qualified referee. So player, coach, mentor, referee. Yeah,
All right,
all
Paul,
four
Paul,
dimensions. Yeah.
we have one of a very known Jamaican coach in the YouTube, in Vassarena. So he asked this question: which coach is that is interested in coaching the Reggae Boys? That's the question he asked. His name is Vassarena, and he was also instrumental in my development as a football coach. He taught me at high
Okay.
school and he coached me at high school. Still one of the best football brain as a coach in Jamaica. That I believe. That's just me. But
Mm.
he's also one of the instructors in the coaching certification here in Jamaica.
Hmm.
In terms of your certification, Paul, and here in Jamaica, everybody loves that about certifying the license, the coach, whatever. I was asking in terms of your license, what level do you have? What level of coaching certification do you have?
So I have my level 1. I have done my youth award modules 1, 2, and 3. I've done FA training for mentoring young people and adults, and then I've done I can't even add up how many hours of CPD, like continued professional development, every season. The conference I was just at, that qualified for that, so that's about 3 hours of CPD. So I was working towards what is now your UEFA C, or called the UEFA C. I was working towards that. Bearing in mind all this time I'm playing myself on Saturdays and stuff like that. So I was working towards this, and then COVID hit. So I was like a module away from completing what was that at that time my level 2. And then they revised all the coaching. For a time there was a big pause on your certification. So now I've just actually shared today. Kick It Out have got bursary funding. This is Kick It Out, the charity in the UK. They've got bursary funding for people looking to do either their introduction to football or their UEFA C, which was the old level 2, if they meet certain criteria. So that's supporting grassroots coaches into getting the next level and moving up through the game, because the opportunities are limited. And if your face doesn't fit and you haven't got any qualifications or very few, then you're going to be pushed down the pile. So that's where I sit. But most of my experience is through working experience, actually at levels. Up until a year ago in February, I was managing a football centre in Nottingham, working closely with Notts County Football Club, who got promoted that season. So we would have their under-15s, under-16s coming on a daily basis, doing education alongside their football training. At the weekends, we'd have their girls, their boys training at our site. And on that 5-acre site adjacent to that, we had a semi-professional football team, which was Clifton All Whites, which had a little bit of involvement in managing the site and making sure that ran smoothly as well. So my experience, I have more actual working experience than my certificates equate to, which is a frustration for me. But again, COVID hit at a bad time. But the thing is, Kevin, to at the time to do your level 2, you also had to do so many hours of coach delivery that was observed. But I was still playing on Saturday afternoons, so that clashed with that. And that's something that if you speak to even professional players, when they're starting to finish their careers, it's a real challenge unless they've got a coach that's engaging and bringing them on to coach as they transition from being veteran players to then moving into the coaching team within that club or another club. Because if you're not observed doing your practices, then you don't get signed off. So that's the challenge, because a lot of players just want to play for as long as they can. They're not bothered about doing their badges until it's too late to start doing it. And then some of them move into media or buy properties or just not be involved in the football industry itself at all. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge trying to balance it and fit that in. And bearing in mind, I only got to semi-pro level, so I'm still working a full-time job as well as all of that as well. So that's my disappointment that I've not got higher. But in answer to that question, I hope that answers the question for who asked it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Question answered. But I want to say this though. I hope I don't disappoint you. In Jamaica here, the news going around that the JFF looking for persons with UEFA B and that type of qualification. So
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe your own contacts, and by so doing, that Jamaican national player, the Reggae Boys player that you contact with, is he a coach by in right now? Has he done any coaching certification or levels?
I don't know what levels he's at, but the last time I spoke to him, he's got an academy. He's running an academy down in like the South Birmingham area, like Bromsgrove area. Because at the time there was a player that I'd been doing some work with. I wanted to put towards him and just say, look, this guy really, really good. Have a look at him. Maybe bring him into your academy, because I've been doing some one-to-ones with him. So I don't know what his coaching badges are. I'd imagine if he's involved with running the academy, that he's done them. Which would be UEFA. It'd probably be UEFA B or even UEFA A license, quite possibly. Again, another hurdle, Kevin, that's probably the elephant in the room that's not often spoke about is the cost for an amateur coach to go from, say, doing the FA Playmaker Award, which is generally free or funded, to doing what is now their UEFA. Doing the level 1, and then doing the UEFA C. So once you jump up from doing those two, you see, I haven't checked the recent pricing, but the last time I looked at it was near £250, £300. Then when you look at doing your UEFA B license, you're talking like thousands of pounds. Something, depending on what FA you do it with, it can be up to about £5,000. So if you imagine, again, for an amateur coach that was just working with kids or young people to then jump from doing that, it's like somebody going to university and doing a degree. And again, in most households, trying to justify that towards football, where doing that doesn't guarantee you a job in football. So you could get your UEFA B license, and that doesn't guarantee you a job in football.
But it's an investment, though.
It is an investment. It is an investment. But this is where, to be fair, Kick It Out are doing well, and they always have done. They've supported myself personally, financially in the past with funding to help the projects that I've been working on in the Derby area. So, Kick It Out have been brilliant to me. And in fact, Troy Townsend, who's recently left them, has actually been a mentor to me over the years and helped me have the confidence and belief in myself to develop what I'm doing, and the Football Works work that I do in terms of mentoring and supporting people and developing teams and people in the game and bringing them through as coaches. On Saturday mornings, I've just started working with an under-6 team. Well, I say under-6 team. We're building an under-6 team for the start of the season. We've got a few players at the moment. We're looking for a few more. So again, and one of the things we've had to do there, because for the under-9s that's going to start, which is based on the parents and the kids that are going to be involved in that, they're starting from scratch. They're having to start with their Playmaker Awards and then do their level 1, and they've not even got that. But what they have got is the enthusiasm to want to be a coach, so their kids can have a team that's a safe space for them to play, and they get the opportunity to play. So, big shout out to Benny Cooper, well known in Derby, as part of Sherwin Football Club, who organises that every Saturday morning. So, yeah, weekends at the moment are crazy busy. There's no time off. But I love it. And, where he is with his badges, I couldn't tell you. But again, the difficulty is not every player or ex-player, it's the same like with refereeing, not every player wants to be in that side of the business once they've finished playing. Some players just love playing, and that's all they ever wanted to do. They didn't want to be coaches. They never were a captain. They certainly don't want to be referees, which is a shame because all that knowledge and experience, where does it then go? And often it's just lost. It's just lost to the game. So that's the shame bit of it. But yeah, it'd be good to see, either a high profile ex player that's done their badges, that is has actually played for the Reggae Boys, involved, or a bright upcoming coach from the centre of Derby, in the country of England, with Jamaican roots, taking on the mantle in years to come. I'd love the challenge. I'd love it. I'd absolutely love it, because I think, as a people, as Jamaicans, we're natural athletes. It's just in us to run, and that's a huge part of the game. Then it's like, can you teach tactics? Can you teach the skills that's necessary to compete on an international level? I think that's entirely possible. Again, you've only got to look at the Euros and some of what would be classed as the smaller nations, the Georgias of this world and stuff like that, did absolutely amazing, really took some of these big nations to town, and gave them a really challenging game at times. And sometimes all you need is that kind of spark or that little bit of special player that can just unlock a team. If you look at Argentina and won the last World Cup, I think most people would tell you that you take Messi out of that team, a very, very average team, but they had that little bit of magic in Messi. And sometimes that's the only difference you need. Portugal were the same when they won the Euros. Pretty much a standard team, but they had that magic of Ronaldo, and that's sometimes the difference you need. And that's probably coming full circle what England missed. Even their spark players didn't show a spark. They really didn't show a spark during the tournament. Spain were there for the taking once England equalised, and they just couldn't go to the next level and got caught sucker punch. So that's the game. That's the game sometimes. Yeah.
But to pick one before we take a break from your side of it. My very good friend RR is asking if you'd coach a schoolboy team in Jamaica. That's one. When you finish answer that one, I want to ask you this though. Is there any other former Reggae Boys player who is now coaching you would recommend for the national job, or to accompany you in this Reggae Boys setup?
What has this turned into my interview for the job?
Listen, I tell you, we have people on the show who have contacts in them.
I have heard.
I don't be surprised if the person who is actually leading the recruiting team is not watching.
Well, they do. What's the phrase that they say? Never a true word said in jest. So, yeah. Well, listen, you never know what could happen, because 6 weeks ago, or how many few weeks ago it was, me and my wife were planning to go to the Canary Islands, and we ended up in Jamaica. So you never know what can happen. I'm the kind of person where life's too short to not, go with opportunities that may come. And that's not me resigning from my current job. Please, if anyone's watching, listening, that's not me saying that. But you never know where life will take you. When I was in my teens, when I was playing down in Margate for Margate Town, and also doing track and field with Canterbury and Invicta Running Club. If you'd have asked me, 4 or 5 years ago before that, where I'd be, I could never have said that. But I took the opportunity to try and, to fulfill my dream, which would be to have the opportunity to do sport as a living. It didn't quite work out, but it's not for one to try. And so I'd never say never. 11 years ago, I had knee surgery and was told you won't play football again. But, that after 1 year of working hard and being diligent, doing my research on how to recover my body, I was able to play football again and have done over the past 10 years. And so, anything's possible when you put your mind to it. The mind's a powerful thing. Like Watkins said in his post-match with him and Cole Palmer, he manifested that goal. He believed that Palmer was going to pass to him and he was going to score. And that's exactly what he did. One of the best goals of the tournament, in fact. So never say never. And, if somebody needs to link me up, they've got your details. They can get in touch with me through you. It's all good.
I am also an agent or a manager, so if you you want to sign over that whole aspect of your career to me, that's fine.
Well, everybody needs somebody taking care of the contractual side of things so they can focus on doing the bits on the grass, But in answer to the question, which was, would I coach a boys' team? Well, or girls' team. I'd have to be living in Jamaica to do that because the 9-hour commute would be a bit of a challenge.
So what if you're coaching the reggae boys team? You'd have to live here too?
Well, that would be such a chore, Kevin. That would be such a chore, the paradise that other men have over there. So, yeah, I don't know how I'd cope with that, But listen, never say never is all I'll say to that. Never say never,
That is so true, Sir Paul. So hold on a bit because we're not finished with you, but you can take a break if you want. We're just going to move on to another aspect of coaching as they move along. But I know you're following the Jamaican team too. And I don't think you follow the Jamaica Premier League as such, but you learn a little bit as we go along. People, there are some other coaches. We mentioned that Lenny Hyde parted company with Dumbo Holding. Based on what I heard, that it is a mutual consent between both parties that they shift, here. So that I can understand. But then again, this is how it sounds when people want to ensure that the negative thing don't get out there. But I think, if Dumbo Holding really wanted something good from Lenny Hyde or something good for the team, they ought to give Lenny Hyde another start, yes? Because I've seen where the team has made stride, as much as they were not winning as how, the fans would have liked. I see where Lenny Hyde was trying to get this Dumbo Holding team playing like a Clarendon College, the passing, yes, the keeping the football, attractive football. But all of that takes time, yes? I'm not expecting that Dumbo Holding will have come and blow away teams. Not that how it works. So I don't know. But again, the business of sports, it's all about results driven. And to finish 8th, in the Premier League, maybe that's not good enough for Dumbo Holding. I don't think it will be good enough for any manager or any management structure of a club. So I do understand. Where will Lenny Hyde go next, people? I'm talking about Lenny Hyde. He has not had good results in recent time in his coaching belt at all outside of Clarendon College. I'm not going to go into the other aspect of it, but just to get you thinking on something. Another interesting move, people. And we soon come to the schoolboy football, I know that's where you love it. But another interesting move we have seen, and we know that Whitmore has gone from Mount Pleasant already. So Harold Thomas, veteran coach, has taken up the mantle as coach of the beaten finalists of the Premier League this year. So that's another big drama. Is Harold Thomas, I don't know if he has the capacity now, if he has the energy to move this Mount Pleasant team forward. Or is it that Harold is just holding that position until Mount Pleasant find an interesting, or should I say, an exciting coach? These are some questions that I'm asking people if you know any of that. So yes, Horace, you are saying that Pro Hyde said it is easier to coach schoolboys than coaching adults. I believe so too. From my experience, yes. Because you can have the schoolboys, they are youngsters, they are willing to learn, as opposed to the adults who figure that they already learned. Yes. So that's another challenge. But again, you have to have the capacity to coach adults. I tell you the truth. And the patience. Because guess what? If a man going to tell us, coach, me know that already, then you have to find a subtle way to say, listen, even though you know it, this is how I want you to do it. Am I right? So, management is very key And relationships are very important when we're dealing with adults because we are adults. People think differently. Eh? So again, if you don't have that mindset, it will not work. You wonder why some coaches can coach adults but can't coach schoolboys.
It's
And
true.
it is. So experience teaches a lot of things. Yeah, man. Adults, especially in Jamaica, think they know it. But I always say to the adults that I have coached, look at all those experienced international footballers who you rate and follow. They have a coach, and they have to listen to their coaches. So why you don't
Mm,
want to? Come on.
mm.
So that's another thing. So another big move, people. Portmore United has parted company again with my very good friend Philip Williams. And interesting, who take over at Portmore? The man they call Fergie, the Jamaican Fergie, from JC, from Mount Pleasant and now to Portmore. So these are very interesting times in the Premier League and in Jamaica as it relates to the youth. So a coach, Philip Williams, who have done margin, I think he has done well with Portmore, yes. But for some strange reason, I don't think, I don't know how to explain, but I don't think Philip has the cutting edges in terms of this killer instinct as a coach. I don't see Philip find the chemistry to really get to the winning mentality. Yes, whenever he reaches
Mm.
the semi-final rounds or the final, something he continue to even when a bad luck just not work out for Philip. Yes,
Mm.
so that I can understand. So Philip, I understand, and Fergie, Portmore are my team. You're one of my team, so make sure you do well. People, listen to this one. Schoolboy football and movements. We have seen where Cornwall College, starting from the west, Cornwall College has parted company with their long-standing, trustworthy coach, Dr. Dean Weatherly. Yes, and I think I've seen that Dean Weatherly have gone to another school in the west. Can anybody back me up? Where is Dean Weatherly coaching for the next schoolboy season? But it's a school for the west. It's a school down west. I soon get it. I soon come up with it. But who take over at Cornwall? Tapa Whitmore is now Cornwall College head coach. So Tapa is moving all around. But I wonder if Tapa have the mindset right now to concentrate on the Cornwall College team as it is now. Because maybe Tapa is looking forward to another stint at the Reggae Boys in the park.
Could be. Could
Yes.
be. I mean, the thing is, what you find at whatever level of football this time of year, apart from when players try to squeeze in their marriages or weddings, um, there's always a lot of movement, and whether that's physios, coaches, managers, players, there's a lot of churn, there's a lot of change. Sometimes for good reason, sometimes because somebody's underachieved,
Mhm.
but sometimes because, like you were mentioning earlier, um, the man management. We live in an era now where, when I first started playing football, if you weren't doing well, you could expect to be hollered at, shouted at, screamed at. And we live in an era now where all the best coaching courses and best coaches will tell you you can't do that. You can't do that with the mentality of players now. You literally have to understand the difference of personality between each of them. And as tiresome as it might be a different coach for each one of them almost, because each
Yes.
one of them needs something different from you. And that is the skill nowadays. The practices and the drills will pretty much take care of themselves, because again, we live in a time where there is vanity, and players look after themselves a lot better, not to mention the information, the technology that's out there, and I mean technology as in food technology, supplements and things like that, which weren't readily available to even amateur players. It was just the elite. All players get that now. People, my lads, the first session this season, training that I ran, we did the bleep test, and they blew me away where they got to. We did a 20-minute bleep test, and I think the first lad didn't drop out until level 13, and the top guy, I think he got up to 17 and a half, maybe going on to 18. So really impressive fitness levels, and that's just an amateur team. So, the bar's been raised all the way up. But what you've got as well, I say, is from a coach, you've got to raise your bar because you've got to get to know your players individually. There's still going to be those lads or girls that need you to encourage them quite firmly or strong. But there's also those that if you do that, you've broken them and you might
Yes.
lose them for the whole season.
That's true.
And,
You're right.
so that's now the skill of coaching is the person management. You have to know them. You have to know what's going on in their life a little bit because, if somebody comes to training late or they come with a face like a slap behind, I don't know, has something happened? Now, back in the day, coach would just be like, go and do 5 laps because you're late, sort of thing. You can't do that now. You can't do that because you've lost them. You've lost them. And then what you'll find is their mates within the team will be like, oh, why is coach doing that? And then you've lost them too. So then you've got a little clique of players who don't want to work for you, don't want to train for you. And the difference is it's always easier to get rid of one coach or one manager than it is to get rid of a group of 25, or a squad. So coaches or managers always become dispensable in that kind of environment. Is that for me, R&R? Do you have a special method to scout players or do you use theory application? Is that for me?
Yes, boss.
Yeah. For me, again, for the years I've been in football and even how football's changed to being more athletic now, all I can say is I know what good looks like. When you see somebody who can control a football, that's a start because if your philosophy is to play a possession game, then you need 11 players, including your goalkeeper, who can control the football. So when you see a man bouncing a ball on a park or, in a little five-a-side, you're like, oh, the ball comes into him sharp, but he can stun it dead and he can move it on out of his feet not quite smoothly. That tells you what you need to know, because remember, if somebody's relatively fit, you can make them fitter. You can make them faster by teaching them how to run more efficiently and properly. But the basic skills, when you get to a certain age, if it's not there, you can't make somebody have ball skill that ain't got it. It's almost impossible because the wiring from their brain to their feet just isn't there to manipulate the ball in a certain way. You can improve things, but for the fundamentals, I mean, the kids I'm working with now, the team I'm setting up on a Saturday morning, they're 6 years old. 6 years old in the UK is the age that some of the Premier League clubs are now signing players at 6 years old. So you think of that, you're thinking, 6 years old. Some pitches are still so.
What have you seen in a 6-year-old? How much can you see?
What you can see
from a 6-year-old.
Well, again, being 6 doesn't tell you that at 16 they're going to sign a professional contract because a lot of lads and girls will go by the wayside. However, what you're looking at and what you can see is technique that shows them and they stand above the rest. So, I mean, might be a little bit biased, but one of the guys who's going to be in the team, little Thomas, who's my nephew-in-law, he's got a left foot and he's hitting the ball with his shot power at 6, the equivalent of me passing a ball. And all I've done from when he could run and walk, we took him over the park. Every Christmas, he'd get a football. He loves football. He loves football with Uncle Paul. Loves it. So there's no pressure on him to be anything or become a professional player at this stage. But he's showing signs where even when he's come down and when I've played Vets 5-a-side on a Friday night, and then he's come on the court either before or after just for a mess around, people are like, God, he's all right, isn't he? So people know what good looks like. Even if somebody's not been in the game themselves, they've just been a fan of the game. You can see what good looks like. It's almost, people who want to say, oh, there's a book that you read that teaches you how to scout. There's an instinct that you have that says there's something there. Then it's about, can you develop that can you get that young person into an academy setup that then gives them the professional coaching that means at age 10 they know things that if they're not in an academy at 10, 11, 12, it's very difficult because academy coaches ain't going to give them 4 years of football education. They ain't got the time. They haven't got the time. They're looking for somebody who's set at that age and ready to go into the structure that takes them towards being a professional footballer. And if they're not in, and as I say, clubs are bringing them in at 6 years old. They're putting them on contracts. So it's crazy. But again, full circle, it goes back to what you said at the start of the show about how football is business in every part of the world now. Football is big business, big business. It's not even billions. It's going to run into the trillions very soon. You've only got to look at in the Premier League when the rights for that get renegotiated every few seasons. The numbers that they talk about now is just ridiculous. And it does have a trickle-down effect. You see a little bit of that. Again, that's why an organisation like Kick It Out can offer bursaries to coaches at Grassroots from ethnic diverse backgrounds and female coaches and coaches with disability who wouldn't normally get the opportunity because football's so big. Now they've partnered with Sky Sports. The funding they get means that they can offer more opportunities to people trying to get into the game, or if they're not even trying to get into the game full time, but just be competent at an amateur level. So again, that's all because of what's happening at the top. There could be more that trickles down. With anything, there can always be more. But again, for me, when I see you just know you've been in football many years, Kevin, yourself. You know what good looks like. The skill on a ball is very hard to teach because that's about somebody taking a ball when you're not with them and manipulating it to the point where it just becomes second nature. And not everybody will go and do that. If you look at the modern day comparison, you've got Messi, who was just born with balance and gift, but you've got Ronaldo, who worked hard to make himself good. And you've got to be in one of those two camps, either born with the gift, like Lamar, like Pele was, like Maradona, those kind of players, or you're a grafter and you make yourself good. Like they say, 10,000 hours of practice makes you expert. And it's true. If you want to be able to control a ball well, you've got to practice. You've got to bounce it against a wall, control it until you can trap it dead. It doesn't just happen. It's very rare that somebody's just born with that skill just to manipulate a football. But even still, they will be practicing because I tell you what, somebody who develops early and thinks, oh, I like this, I enjoy that, you try and separate them from a football. I mean, when my nephews come round, trying to get them to not play football in the house, it's a constant battle. It's a constant battle, to the point where we've got 2 goals in the backyard up permanently now. So as soon as they come, they just run outside and they can kick ball in the back garden. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Okay, very good. I'm coming back to you again. Pessoa, blessing, man. Blessings for joining. Yes, Pes, you are saying no, how about you disrespect Fabian and Taylor and Daniel Stewart the same way they both were assistant coaches. Taylor at Aberview, no, you're corrected, not Aberview, but Taylor is at Arnett Garden and Stuart Mullines as assistant. Now at Saudichress. So when you're saying that Aberview have a history of disrespecting their assistant coaches, especially the players who have played for them. My God. Very, very interesting. But as I said, Pessoa, I don't know, you probably know more than I do as it relates to Aberview. If it is that Coach Bernard is now at the boardroom level of Aberview, that means he has a role. He played a role into who they employ or who they don't. But it's very strange to have somebody your assistant for 3-4 years and you can't recommend that person to move up. Something wrong, man. Are you having for 3 or 4 years as an assistant coach?
Yeah, that's something that. It is a strange one, but at the same time, I kind of get it, Kevin, because sometimes people can coach, but they can't manage.
I agree. I totally agree with you there, Paul. So there must be something. So you're not easy when you say you want Aberview to get relegated this season. I don't know. But they almost got relegated last year. Yeah,
Wow.
man, they were struggling for a long while. But that's how it go. Yes, R saying Klopp believe in training, Pep believe in talent.
There you
Well,
go.
that is so true. So
Yeah.
R is asking this question, so if you don't believe in late bloomers, you're saying that if they reach 10 and don't get into the academy, then you know that things will not go the area. So he's asking if you don't believe in those who will come on very late.
No,
Maybe.
no, no. What I was saying is, if a kid's not involved in the academy setup at 10, 11, 12 years old, it's very difficult for them to get in. Yes, you've got the stories of like Ian Wright, who was like mid-20s and he's gone on to great things and now's, like an English sweet, the UK's British sweetheart sort of thing. It's a real media personality. But that story is rare. When you think of how many people get into professional football, women and men now in the UK, like there's the professional game for both sexes. The numbers that it starts out with and that it funnels down to is unbelievable. And that's one of the things they also talk about is kind of the academy journey and how it spits players out.
Yes.
That who say from age 10 up to 16 were thinking, this is my career, this is my career, this is my career, and then they're told, no, it's not your career, and they're like, okay, what am I going to do? The better clubs now, they partner the football training with education. So as part of their football training, they're also doing education as well. So they've got something in the background if football doesn't work out. But oh Lord, what's that?
Oh, that's not so much
Somebody,
fun. Just posting some of the comments. But
but
I had mentioned that, man. I know that Fergie, I mentioned it already. The Jamaican Fergie gone to Portmore United. But as you mentioned that, Novas, my very good friend as well, Rudy Dixon, Lincoln Rudy Dixon, has also parted company with Very United.
wow,
Yes.
it's a lot of movement.
And a
Sounds like a
whole
lot
lot
of
of
movement.
movement.
Yeah,
So I'm not sure what
and
happened. I had a short conversation with him today. We never get into it, but hopefully he'll give us an interview very shortly. So Rudy, if you're watching, you can jump in and let me know what's going on. So you see some of the coaches, I know that Rudy coaching the Manning Cup as well. East Lassie, right? So I don't know if he's still at East Lassie. It seems like he said he wanted to take a break from football.
mm,
So or maybe
mm.
it's break from Premier League football. So let's see. It's a big whole story. But hold on now. Look at a very big one, people. O'Neill Thomas, aka Neely, former Dinkin coach who have brought Dinkin, I think, to two semi-finals. He's no longer at Dinkin, people, and I think many of you would have heard that. He's presently at Meadowbrook. So he'll be coaching Meadowbrook in the Manning Cup. So Neely started high school football in Manning Cup and he's gone back to the Manning Cup right now. What say you? You think Neely can bring Meadowbrook out? I'm sure that one of the manager from Meadowbrook is watching you. So Captain White, if you are there, Paul, you know that name?
No, that's a new name for me.
You don't know that name?
No, man.
You don't know a Captain White? You see,
Oh,
I'm
our
trying.
Captain White, you mean?
I'm
You mean
trying
our
to get
Captain White?
no, Paul. I'm trying to get you into Jamaica, and I tell you that I have people on this show who have very strong links with this Jamaica today. You're trying to tell me that you don't know Captain White?
Are you meaning family group Captain White?
Listen, don't bring that on the Saudichress show, sir. Have you known of another Captain White?
Oh,
Well,
man.
Captain White is one of the manager from Meadowbrook High School. Meadowbrook is his alma mater. So
Okay.
Nearly people is now the head coach of Meadowbrook High School. That's what you're saying. Did you hear that Rudy moving on? Thought he did pretty well last year. Yes, but I think I don't remember where Veer ended up last year. Veer, I don't remember. He did pretty well based on what he has, but he's moving on. And what I'm hearing now is that he wants to take a break from football. I suspect it is from Premier League football. Rudy love football too much to take a, not to mention what he has done with ACS. He already for the ACS. But truth be told, these are some movement, Pastor, believe it or not. Very strange. Very, very strange. Another movement, people. Everybody remember Tafari Burn, the Rasta Dread, actually the Rasta coach, who coached Edwin Allen to Ben Francis Championship in 2021, has now at Alphonsus Davis, former Spalding High. So Taffy, Rastafi is now at Alphonsus Davis. Yes, man. So, well, what is first last people? My RR take you now, you know. Anywhere I turn, nearly clashes with me. KC versus Dinkel last year. KC versus Meadowbrook. Oh, so Meadowbrook and KC in the same zone, person. But you have him stick, man. You beat him all the time. Nearly. You have him stick, so you don't beat him. Ball of life, sorry. Is it because Craig Butler taking over Very United? Listen me, boss. I never know that. Bala, what you saying? People, breaking news. Is it breaking news by the way? I don't know. You know. Is this credible? Paul,
Yes,
I'm
cuz.
taking a sip of some jelly water. You know. You should have a sip as well.
What? Clear, straight
Straight
from the
from the
coconut,
tree.
yeah?
Yes, man.
Straight from the
Just,
coconut, man.
where's the alright? It is breaking news. So you're saying to me that Craig Butler taking over Very United. Have you heard the name Craig Butler before, Paul?
No.
Ah, Craig Butler is a popular name in Jamaican football.
Okay.
Craig Butler is the owner, manager, and coach of the Phoenix Academy, the ones that
Okay.
develop one of the most controversial baller right now in Jamaica, Leon Bailey.
Okay.
He's Leon Bailey's agent.
Wow.
He's Richard Whisper's agent.
Uh-huh.
He's the coach of the winning Manning Cup team in Jamaica.
So he's a
Craig,
big guy.
okay. Yes, man, big guy. Regardless of what we think about Craig, you know, you get the results. So Bala,
But
I
you know,
will say,
but you know what, Kev? You know what, Kev?
mm,
That highlights a point you made earlier because winning, and I've said this to teams that I've worked with before. Winning isn't always about being the best team. And football, I had this conversation with my line manager at work because we were away for a few days. And was talking over dinner. He's more into martial arts. And I was saying to him, I says, because he was saying, oh, you know, football's a gentleman's sport. And I says, there's nothing gentlemanly about football when you play football. You know, a man's treading on your feet, they're digging in your ribs and things like that. There's nothing honourable about football. I mean, as a striker, I can remember one of the first things I'm being coached is like, I'm being told, right, this is how you cheat. You know, this is how you run the line to cheat so you don't get offside. You know, it's not to say it's a game of cheats per se,
yes,
but you've got the rules of the game, the laws of the game, and it's then a bit like in Formula One. How can you manipulate them, stay within the spirit of the game, but get advantage or take advantage of them? And to win is that. It's understanding, as they call it over here, the dark arts, how sometimes to win a game, you do things that don't necessarily seem sporting, but it's about getting across the line because once you've got the result and you've got the trophy, that's all that matters. And getting that mentality into players is difficult because some people are like, I can't do that. That's not right. That's not honest.
okay.
Well, winning isn't always honest, and that's the truth.
That's
You know,
reality.
people only really remember the person that finishes first. You know, if we go back to when Michael Johnson won his 400-meter sprints in the Olympics, can we remember who finished second and third?
Was one of your English, man?
Well, one was, yeah, and you're gonna disprove my point by proving it. But yeah, it was Roger Black, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
But in you don't get nothing for finishing second, silver medal. But what's he gone on to do? It's not Roger Black we see on commentary when the Olympics comes round. It's Michael Johnson. So you've got to think that's a mindset that as a coach, when you're trying to get that across to players to say, look, we've got to dig deep and do things that might be ugly. But the reason we're doing that is not because we're horrible people, is not because we actually want to hurt or be hurtful to somebody, but sometimes whether it's a physical bit of dark arts or it's psychological, where you might say a thing to a certain person. Was it Chiellini said something to Zidane in the final, and
Yes.
that sent Zidane crazy to the point where he headbutted the man? Yeah, dark arts.
Yeah, man.
Dark arts,
So there are tricks and trading matches back, as we say.
That's
here in
it.
Jamaica.
To get you to win.
Yeah. Vassal, guess what, Vassal? Guess what I say that you know better. I don't understand. Vassal, you need to respond to this from Pessoa. He said that at Pessoa, you know better. You come to Reno, start well, then you make Montego Bay United tap up, then run away.
Oh gosh. Wow.
I said, I responded, but I did respond. I don't even want to take this off.
Wow.
Would be good for a Clarendon football if Craig go to here. All right. So what was this saying? What is it? Taking over news, heard it too. Yeah. Okay. So first respond to Pessoa quickly answer. My Pessoa, you come with some mischief sometimes, you see, man. But what, listen, man.
Wow.
We're not going to keep that one episode. You're too bad.
Wow.
Some years ago, he went to Humble Lion, and Mike Henry have to fire him. Not even 2 games in the last. He's a different man now, Pessoa.
Wow. One man not easy, man. So, Kevin, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
So, I'm over here in the UK. If I wanted to catch some action from the Jamaica Premier League, how would I do that over here?
Okay, so there's a media house named Sportsmax. Sportsmax, a little bit of pay me for this, I don't want to fire, I want to mash me up. All right. So there's a house, Sportsmax. Yes, you can buy the app. Yes, you can buy the app, and you can feature. Well, hopefully they will be next year the one who covers the Premier League. They covered it last year. They also on YouTube.
Okay.
So if you wish, you
cool.
can, go on YouTube and search for Sportsmax. They will set up Premier League games.
So they have the rights.
Right, they have the rights. So some of those games they actually cover them free. You can get them on the YouTube channel and Sportsmax. And let's say, for example, it's a double header. They will cover the first one. You can see that one free on YouTube. But for the latter game, which normally the big game, so to speak, you'll have to go to the feed app.
Okay, brilliant. Yes. So at least for me or for other people listening, if they want to follow the Jamaica Premier League, that's how they do that through that Sportsmax. Yeah. Okay. Cool. But like you say, we've given props now, so they need to just drop something back your way,
Yeah, man. We need a partnership. Sportsmax kind of road now, Pick up yourself. Sportsmax, we're in a little battle with schoolboy football. But we'll get over that stuff. I try to see if we can get a piece of it, for the next season. We can make people like you get a lot of a match to watch live. Yes? You can follow it.
Yeah.
So I've asked really responded still about what you saying. West chicks in trade, yeah man, in matches box. Business. Yeah, man, business, trust me, no doubt about it. I remember him say JPL no good, so he want to go coach. No. Listen, I don't want to take everything personal for Craig Butler. Craig Butler is a man with some statements to market himself and marketing business. Trust me. Yeah, man. At Saudichress, you have to buy a plan. You get all the games on Sunday. or Monday. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you could go to the
Mm.
sports app and from there you can purchase his plan.
Thank you, Travis, for that information.
Me have my plan,
Mm.
Me have my sports max plan where my sports max plan are free, but I can't tell you that. But now I'm gonna tell you how we get it free. Now I'm gonna tell you that. Anyway, back to the movement of coaches. So we just talk about taffy people. Alphonsus Davis. Duki is back at Manchester High. I heard that he was in and around last year, but this year he will be the head coach of Manchester High. What you know have to say about Duki at Manchester High? Vasco, where are you with? Say something, no man. Say so jar you out, say you come mash up and some runway business. You don't know why I'm talking.
So, Kevin,
Yes.
I'm gonna have to step off now because
No
um,
problem, cuz.
it's just gone 4 o'clock and I still need to hit the gym. So, yeah, I've got an early one. I've got to be in Bromsgrove by 8:30, and there's whole heap of traffic going to be in front of me. So I've got to
All right.
squeeze in my workout. But listen, it's good to see Una over there back with power and everything after the storm, and
Yes,
that
yes.
people are safe. And I'm putting together a box of things that I'm going to be sending over.
Yes,
And
man.
I'm
Okay,
hopefully going to do that on a regular basis just to help the people in the parish who want to play. And so look out for that soon. So we'll maybe
Listen, hold on.
next time talk more about that.
Let me zoom in a little bit, people. It's not the whole parish of Clarendon. It's the community of Janza right now. Talking
Yeah,
street. And I don't want them and
yeah,
them
man.
people are going to try to fit something.
Well, yeah, we have to start somewhere, and then the seeds will
Mhm.
spread. But yeah, like you say, we'll start. Like Devon asked for, some things to help the kids around my dad's
Yes.
church and things like that. So we start there, and then we see where we can go from there. Yeah, man.
All right, my boss. Big up yourself, Coach Paul. And people, it's not Paul Allen, it's Paul Witty. Mess up yourself, yes. Always on the Saudichress show. But thank you very much for joining, man. And trust me, you have given us some very useful information early. And so we are very much thankful for that. All right, mess up yourself and have a good day, bro.
Respect. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Thank you to everybody. Keep safe over there, and
All right.
keep doing the good work.
Blessings. Safe travel as well. All right, people, blessings. So that's Paul, So next man, T-Gat Davis is at Rossi's. Who was at Rossi's last year? Is it what's that player name again, man? Bugsley. I think he was at Rossi's last year. Pessoa, see what man say Pessoa, look for this, take that. Man say was invited to by Reno solely to save them from relegation. Did you save them, Pastor? Were they safe? So what happened at Mobile, Pastor? Why you run away? Oh boy, I tell you this football thing is a real. So anyway, Tiga at Rossi's people. So you see down away some big movements are going on. Pessoa, I know you know the West. Where is Dr. Dean Weatherly? Where will he be coaching this year? Um this team now West, hold on people. I soon tell you now which team. Me see a little thing, I'm not sure as me say. Sometimes I really don't get into it because it's not confirmed and I don't want to bring fake news. So I am not 100% sure on that. Yes. Um, so that's what you said. Not a soul from Reno called my phone up to months after the season. What you say? So first they actually tell you thanks. Say them finish with you. I don't know. So the teams in West, what the team name, man? I soon come up with that. Team. Yes. It's alleged that Butler is part owing he's part owing of very technical, not technical, but very united. Is that what you're saying? Eh? Talk to me, Bala. You have the information and let it go. That's little easy, Hey, Ranking, you know why you talk about no gym, company show and tap nice. Hey, the people are easy. So the call from Reno. Why Vaseline, they might run it fast. They said they never need your service after. All right, can you save them? That's what they wanted. The call from Reno came in only when Montego United news bust out. Oh, you mean in Weatherly now? Irwin! Yeah man, respect Bala. So Dean Weatherly now people is that Irwin. You know so much movements are going on in the football this year. What got in a schoolboy football? It is this year the year of coaching competition. Miller people, Vass's assistant coach. Is it what's his first name? Vass, I don't remember his first name. Miller. I knew him when he was at St. Catherine working out there. So Miller is the present head coach at Dingtail. And hey, the people may I tell you, one day my boss I listen to this, Mr. Gowd, our manager. If things no win this year, man, enough more fire go burn, but they have to give Mr. Miller some time, The Dingtail fans and the naysayer will have to give Mr. Miller some time. Can I expect him to just jump in the hot water? Yes? Or jump out. Hey, listen, man, take your time. All right? All right, Bala. Respect. So you say you save them vessel. So, hold on. So, vessel, yeah, I say. Whether is assisting at Irving, when they say assisting, what you mean? Is he building a program there as the assistant coach? We not get that. Talk to me because Bala said that, no, yeah, man. But anyway, in that Irving, at some point, he's doing some coaching there, he's managing Irving. All right, very good. So the movement people, so we expect the football to develop in a lot of schools. Yes. So we say, as we say, Meadowbrook was on the low for a little while. Nearly gone there. Rounding coach know how to get through to at least the second round and know how to get through to semi-finals. He has proven that over and over again. Yes, Taffy is a coach where was occasionally in my alma mater, but things never work one particular way, so he move on. In the Alfonso Davis, he has a little winning thing over him because he has won the Ben Francis Cup already. Yeah, man. Dean Weatherly is a here-to-here challenging coaching. He has won competitions with Cornwall already, so you know what to do. Irving is a upcoming team, so we expect big things. T-Gat at Rossi's. The truth is though, people, and T-Gat, I think we need to give you a link. I don't know. I don't know what level of success T-Gat has had with schoolboys. I don't know. I don't know. I remember at one time he and Lenny was at Clarendon College and then they separate. I really so I need some T-Gat to come and share some of these things with me. That's interesting. T-Gat is a very good coach. I watched him at Arnett Garden last year or the year before. It was very, very impressive. Yeah, man. So no nonsense coach. That's what I like about T-Gat, yeah. And his brilliance, his knowledge of the game. As a farmer player, you can really get to the bottom of things. Get people to understand what's going on. So Pessoa is saying at Vassal, let me put it up as well. Hey, Lisa Speeds at Vassal Reynolds. Stop tell lies. Your assistant at Rossi's, former NBO captain, make you go there. Right, Pessoa, you're dangerous. Oh, so you're saying that Dean Weatherly Vassal is assisting Norman Foster. All of these people, all of these teams, these schools looking out will have a pre-season interview on this very same show. The Saudichress show will cover them. So not because many may call out some names right now, people, and many more out there that I remember Kemar, not going to call the school where I come from, but in the Manu right now. I don't know who is at the farmer school. Very, very knowledgeable coach, young coach. That's the thing I like about these coaches, people. Young and knowledgeable and trying to get their craft out there. And they're not afraid to take up new challenges. Unlike some coach who just a lay like one of my brethren. Call him here. But you're pissed at it tonight. For info, and Bugsley could not get me to MBU. I was actually recommended by Whitmore. What you say? The Theodore Whitmore recommended to Mobile United? Wow, good God. Hey, Basti, you know, you are really trouble. Yeah, boss, you know. I know that today, yeah, boss, you know, Basti, I tell you the truth. But anyway, I want to know now, who else done Basti? Give me some movement because you there one place you know where you can't live for you know what you buy things, but you know, tell me. Oh, some other interesting people. I got bust all secret, you know, and people are gonna vex with me, but I don't care tonight. Tonight at the night when we're gonna start some things. I mean not talk bad things, but the thing a lot of these movements that we're talking about, some people probably never want them to be heard so early. Yes. But Glenmuir people, Glenmuir. Boy, I tell you some big things going. Hey, a whole lot of changes going on to Glenmuir. Mr. Lee, are you still there? You're gonna sleep. Because I saw reach your school, you know. You reach to be. But Glenmuir has been doing a whole lot of recruiting. Sensible recruiting. Big up yourself, Peart. The boss, Andrew Peart, my boss. Yeah, man, one of my big coach. So I realized that in recent time, Glenmore has recruited two young coaches that were coaching in the Dakar Cup. I don't remember the names or one of the names, so I'm not gonna try to call that name or even insinuate where it's coming from. But presently, the former assistant coach at Manchester United, he was also Vass's assistant coach at Manchester High School. He's also now at Glenmore. Story come to bump. Story come to bump people. I get to understand that his coach is the responsible for the under 16 coach and also one of the assistant coach for the Backasta Cup team. Mr. Pierre, talk to me. I remember Glenmore one day, Flow Cup last year. Beat up CC in a Flow final and make CC run over them in the cup final. But that's the nature of the game. Why this is nice. At Basso, go away, you are a liar. That's why you know last. No way. Oh God. No, 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 no. We're not going to that chicken. First of all, you need to behave yourself. You need to behave yourself. All right? And you can't answer that one big coach person because you see work speaks for yourself. All right? But people, what may I try to say now? Glenmure, yes? Glenmure has taken John I. Chambers, former assistant coach, and who finished one of the seasons as head coach at um, Manchester High School. I thought he had went to the semi-finals. I was the quarterfinals. So he has, a matter of fact, a good youth coach as well. He's the head coach for the Manchester girls football team. Is that right? That's Janai. Good youth. I rate him. I want Janai to go to Edwin Ali. I hold that nothing. Janai was the coach who I recommended to go to Edwin Ali. But it didn't work out. For some strange reason. But he's now at Glenmore. So when you have a Glenmore High School now with top coach, Andrew Peart as head coach, Janai as one of the assistants, and also the under 16 coach. And another coach that I was told used to coach in Manchester by Mandeville to one of the upcoming Doncaster Cup team. Did very well last year. Is no the under 14 coach at Glenmore. What is it you expect? But in all of these people, one question I'm gonna ask, and I'm gonna leave it right there. Don't even ask it, don't send it back to me. For years now, Garfield Robbie Robinson, yes, I think is the best youth development coach in this country. Without any shadow of a doubt. I will say that every day, every night, and every time. One of, if he's not the best youth development coach in Jamaica. He used to be at Glenmore. Where is he now? Is he still at Glenmore? So people just see the dynasty that Glenmore created down there in Naples. My God. Soon be academy. Actually, you got it all mixed up. My assistant at Rossi's wasn't happy with me at MBU. Oh, you hear that, Pessoa? So you need to get that straight. So him and Pessoa and others were they up there behind me back. The rest is history. I had to run from the west. Why? Never put back that one there. Hold on. That's what you say. What you say the man there over here, you must already program. All right. So Pessoa, you were top up over Manning School when Rossi's come play some friendlies. Why Pessoa be afraid of you? Bala, Coach Sammy is the best youth developer in Jamaica. Ah, you see, what I'm trying to say to you, and yes, I believe Coach Sammy is a very, very good one too. And I say, if I tell you now, I said that Robbie is one of the best, if not the best, arguable. But when I say that, if you look at Coach Sammy, very good in terms of him little thing, but the application and where he works, yes, it's more start to work with a senior level, yeah. So when you're talking about 18 and 19 year old, 17, 18, 19, that is Coach Sammy. But I'm telling you, Coach Robbie, I'm talking about 12, between 12 and 15, or 12 and 16. Trust me, check it out. All right. Robbie is good though. No man, he's good. Trust me, no doubt about it. All right. So we take that. Adversely, you deal with Obi and Clarendon. Remember that. Me are gonna let you know that this show here tonight. Casey will be traveling west, of course, in August. Ah, hey, Vassy, when I give an interview, you talk about your travel west. When I travel to Saudichress, you talk about your travel west. Where west you going? You need to give the show a bless up before you go west. Stay central. But anyway, people, who else will leave out of the movements? Tell me. Who else will leave out of the movements? People, so one little secret, man. You one little bird that sing one song, say, Lenny never comfortable at Clarendon College. Want to hear anything like that? If you don't hear, you come back one next time, come tell me. I don't know if you are. I don't know for what reason, but that's what I did here. Yeah, man. So, boy, I tell you that we are nice people. It's just that Sammy up his thing, yes, while Robbie stays at the same level over the years. And that's what I'm saying. It's not a matter of Robbie stays at the same. That's where he loves. He loves to see the youth transition from one level to the next. That is the reason why I'm saying he is one of, if he's not the best. Yes. But I do understand Sammy is very good. You can imagine you have an academy where you have a Sammy and Robbie working throughout that academy, that youth academy that we are provide for JPL. Mr. Lee, are you here? Mr. Lee just asleep, but we understand. All right. It's alleged that Lenny wasn't comfortable at CC. Yeah, man, me hear one little bird is singing it. You hear that, Tubala? Not true. I wonder if we can give him a little tap up and get him away from CC. But I don't know if we can pay him and him backroom staff. Because Lenny not going to know where left Sammy. I don't think so, but let's see. That's all. May I travel west with Casey to link up Pessoa and him friends. We are going now west, tell me now. Which part now west are we? Give me a practice match before you go to Vassy. Yeah, give me a practice match, man, before you tune up. People, we have a few minutes left to the end of the show. We're going to go for the 2 hours. We just on 1 minute 55. So we just have a few minutes. But, going back to these coaches and movement people, what I'm expecting in this schoolboy football this season is a whole lot of hype. A whole lot of hype. And I say that because The teams that we have seen last year, we had some very good teams last year. Yeah? At Vassal, Meran Garden, Duki, all you have are theory coaches, good. Nothing practical you can do at let me understand this. But yeah, try to tell us Miranda, Duki, all you have are theory coaches. Good. Nothing practical you can do. Vasi, I tell that Bridget, if you say Vasi is a theory coach, if you if no, me answer. Let me see if me understand what you say. Break it down for me, person. You know, sure me get it. Where I say Vassal, Meran, and Duki, they are theory coaches. No, sir. And I'm not defending Vassal. I'm not defending Vassal, but as a student of Vassal Bridge, as a player, I can tell you, if you talk about practical coach, and so if you watch the man coaching last year, you should be able to move away from that. I already like second thoughts. No doubt, no disrespect. I mean, I push an agenda, but no, man. If you're going to say that about Vassal Bridge, I can't agree with you. Not because I'm a friend, but trust me. The work shows, bro. The work shows. Schoolboy football are rubbish. Old boys bragging rights. Come on, Pessoa. Don't be like. I no. Pessoa, you're going. I don't think you're really um, objective. Yes? No, sir. If you say schoolboy football are rubbish, let me take your answer. You can't believe. I'll speak well at interviews. What them in a senior team football like in JPL club, where they are coach. Yes. But let me ask you, Pessoa. Let me ask you. If you follow Vassal Premier League still, I mean, I always tell Vassal that, in no serious with Premier League. I'm not telling you. I've seen Vassal save about three different teams in Premier League at separate different times, meaning teams were on the verge of being relegated and has bring them from the dirt. Fine. But I am saying this to you. The speak well at interview. Every good coach of it can talk with an interview, bro. Any coach can talk with an interview and a coach. Me, I tell you that. Good. So as much as you say that, remember, people, remember as well, one of the things that I think we need to understand, the teams who are the coaches who won Premier League, let me know how many coaches won Premier League and won schoolboy competition. And if you are saying that schoolboy football is rubbish, I no, I can't agree with you. No time at all. Where I say win in a senior team football like JPL. No, I agree. I understand what you're saying, guys. And you can argue that. That I look in football. Why you're yourself, man? That's I'll clip your wings. You go on. Vasquez is a trained teacher. So that's expected of him. No, and say that to say, but the man is a big coach, bro. I mean, whether you like his style, yes or no, the fact based on his result. Yes. Remember, Vassal coach in Manning Cup and he coach in Dakar. Two different levels. I want to say two different type of football in the sense that um, the expectations are different. The pressure is different. And he has shown that he has won. He has not won the Manning Cup, but he has won Flow Cup, Walker Cup, he won Dakar Cup. Mm? And he has won a lot of youth football to under 14, under 16. So he has been there and done that. But yes. And so if you're spending 6 months of the year, yes, or 8 months of the year coaching schoolboys, at what point, how will you move to um, coaching the Premier League? And that's a problem with many coaches. So they spend a lot of time in schoolboy football. And then after the season has started, When the club in a problem, then take on the club. It can't work. It just can't work. So you have to start pre-season and season if you want to do well. That's the problem. Yeah. So again, I'm not worried I'm gonna kill you for your feelings or the way you see it, your own view and things, your opinion. But if you're gonna talk certain things, you have to use some data, yes, some statistics to match up what we are saying, and that's fine. That's fine. So that's the way I say now. I tell us, say you say I go West. We always say I go. You very much before you go. All right, people. So as we say, we're expecting some very very good football this season. Many of these coaches, people, they have grown, they have gained the experience over the years. And when you look at a Duki, yes, Duki is a regular coach, but Duki has not won much, if he won anything. But you can expect some good football from a Duki team. Not necessarily very attractive, but penetrative, defensive, compact football from a Duki teams. And with Manchester and the money that I let me not use money. The resources that Manchester High School have for football, Duki will do well. Yeah, man, they will do well. All right. Again, Dean down at Irwin, we expect a lot of things. T got again, as I said before, he has done well at the Premier League level. I don't know much about his high school experience. Again, and as I say, you have some people who work well with the boys, and you have some who works well with the men. T got worked well with the men. Maybe I don't know about the boys yet, but I'm expecting great things. Rossi's, I believe, is hungry for some championship now. The one win again. 2017 with Vasa. All right, so the rest is history. Miller, there, hey, you see this coach Miller, yeah? Young youth. A youth where work with data. A youth where, let us say one now, in very, very slick. Pay attention to details. That is the type coach Miller is. And with the players and resources Dink will have, I'm expecting that he will move forward. Yeah, man, he might go do well. But still, I'm not pressure him to win and him first year. Yeah, man, I'm expecting to do well. But not to say win the deep up, but it will be good. People go and curse and make enough noise again if they don't win. People remember to hit the like button. Someone now come on and not hit the like button. Not go yes, so Bala, we are trying to say again. Look, the team Central St. Mary Academy is in the semis in the St. Mary Major League. Okay. So that's where he's coaching now? Oh. So they'll be going for the tier 2 next year. All right. Nigel, you're asking if Lenny still at CC? Yes. No gone away. No gone away, man. But I was just hearing some little things. I'm not sure what is the level of discomfort that he faced at Clarendon College last year or presently. But if the thing said, you can, when you have been doing, and I think what happened, you're winning over and over, you're playing over and over. Maybe the Lenny just want a new challenge. Maybe you want the things where my player if he asks for now, them not readily ready to give him. I'm not sure. But as I say, it's just something new. Yeah, man, he's still there, man. No problem. He's still there. I don't think he's leaving. It's just that to say that he's not 100% comfortable. That's how we believe he would. Yeah. And that's how it is. Again, that's some gossip and news that people for you to do some research. Remember, hit the like button before you go and share this Saudichress channel. Again, some people still watching and not giving us a subscribing. But you don't know. We're looking forward. We're moving on to 2,100 subscribers, people. So if you can share it and build the channel, no problem. Remember, the Saudichress show is the one that you see most schoolboy football panel. Don't forget that. And trust me, this year, you're going to see more than what you expect. But no matter if you pay for it still. Okay, so that's Duki's team. Going back to your roots. Not a problem, not a problem. Central St. Mary Academy. Oh wow. I wonder if you want some schoolboy out here go Manchester. You have to go look, because the team we need a few youth as well. People be on a different drive this year. Me are telling us straight and plain. So when you see me in a certain levels, nobody come with the foolishness. And I don't know Saudichress is all about sports, entertainment, and education. All right. So when you see me here, so I hear somebody. I say me I recruit some ballers. Now ask me no question. If you have a two baller, forgive me, just give me them and go on about your business. Simple as that. Oh, MBU big coach. Yes. I see MBU. Who coach MBU? Oh, a Brazilian was there last year and he's gone. I think he has coached there before. But we have an Argentina now. Argentina, yeah. Yeah, man, Argentinian coach now MBU. Hey, I want to ask Mr. Paul, you don't get them money from here, get coach, international coach, you come coach at your levels. Hmm? Me I love to know that. People, where the money get their money from? Tell me, people. But it is good. So the Argentine coach, what's his name again? What the Argentina coach name? I guess him coach Fiji, him coach at the international level too, you know. MBU look better than JFF. By the way, people, as me say, no, the show come to an end, but I want to tap it after this. And we're having some very good discussion and little heated thing between Pessoa and Vaso. But that's the vibe. Sorry, press show, you don't know where we're going. But the point I want to say, I want to ask this question. Where do you see JFF getting a head coach from? You think we're going to South America? You think JFF going to Europe? Do you think they're going to the Middle East? You said that to say because some serious thing are going on in the Middle East there. Yeah. Yeah. You see what like big baller they going on. Coach must down there too. Well, we know. Some big coach down there. Steven Gerrard. Big coach? I don't know. But he's there. So you have coaches out of Europe down there. But one other thing I want to mention, and Paul said it earlier, that it would be good to have somebody with Jamaican background coaching. If you look at most teams, and I said most teams internationally, they don't go outside of their country. Yes. But as it relates to the clubs, for example, looking in the EPL, how many English coaching in the EPL can count on one hand? Again, it is a business. It is a business. Yeah, man, I know MB, I know they own, there's a company that partner. Paul would have sold out his share, I believe, to them and be a part of that, but I believe. But what I'm saying, even prior to that, it was Paul alone used to run it, bro. When I say him alone, I never say never had no back it really, but he was at the forefront. Where did they get all these resources so they can go overseas? Isn't that the overseas coaches are cheap? Are they much cheaper to coach club than a country than the national team? Yes, I see this thing on your I see it running over social media that they're interested in Dwight York. But where is it? Where Dwight York coaching now? At what level? Again. So it's what I'm saying. These are things that a lot of interesting things coming up. Interesting time as well. Where's the ball? I feel like a wrong thought that which one? But the truth, people, the truth, what I want to say to you is that the JFF now must consider. I heard in some corners, people talking football, there are some corners that, the JFF, along with Rodolph Speed, technical committee, they are not looking at any Jamaican to coach the Boys. I don't know if that is true. And when I say Jamaica, I'm not talking about people like Tapine or Tigat and Paslan and people. I talk about once you associate yourself with Jamaica. But Al Grimstad said something in his response to some questions. Yes. And at one point, I heard he say that he was not too comfortable in Jamaica based on the crime situation. I don't know if you hear that, but he said it. And so, if a foreigner should come to Jamaica who don't know to negotiate, yes, what he heard here or what is being said, whether in social media or mainstream, if you don't know how to do that, to put certain things aside and to, build the confidence to move around, then you're going to have problems. Yeah, man, because you come from a country where you have next to zero crime. That is published because I think most countries have it, but they don't publish it like a Jamaica. It's gonna have a rough saying on it. All right, rough talk on it. So again, whoever come here, better have it. RR, shape made. Heard it was in the English Mirror News. Okay, all right, Mala. That MOU, MBU company need to partner with JFF. They seem to have coaches recruiting system. Listen, JFF is just as another story that man. Pessoal, what you saying? At bar of stop your rubbish. Only sportsman is Brian Charles. Right, Pessoal, you take this thing off your big joke, man. Come on. But anyway, people, I don't know. As it relates to Dwight Yard, I'm not sure what you think. I mean, I, honestly, people, outside of my view, personality, I don't know. I don't know nothing about York and his capacity of coaching, his capabilities, his qualification, his experience. I don't know. So I'll do some research come tomorrow. But if you ask me, I would not take just patriotic. I mean, not even take on Dwight York, Bridget. No, sir. Me no see what Dwight York have now. If we have a brag say. Because Rodan Speed said, we have to see we get a coach and we can't believe say when I get that coach in. That thing saying. So it Lord of mercy, we could believe say that it no idea, so maybe I should. But I'm not looking for that. People, what I think Jamaica need now is somebody who really can take this thing from this level to the next. Meaning get hit the ground running, get you them to start play some football so we can see World Cup because there's no time to develop players now. We nothing saying. Speed, love, controversy. Yeah, me agree, but guess what? It's the name of the game. It is part of the business. That's how you get attraction. That's how people start to follow the news. That's how people start to put in the input. That's part of the promotion, man. The business of football. That is where Jamaica is in now. Jamaica team is a high profile team. Top coach, nothing less. And it top coach must come with condition to RR. It must come with conditions in the sense that people have to embrace what we have in Jamaica. So we all feel the right we have. I mean, I see that I got changed before the World Cup. Yes, the controversial in JFF are that we have. And it now got changed before World Cup because it cannot change with these same set of people. Yes. So again, a lot of people talking about the English-based players or the American-based players. People listen, that is not my problem. I believe, and I will say this loud and clear, as long as they are good, as long as they are better than who we have here locally, I am good with that. When you check a lot of the international teams, I am sure that many of those players, they are not born at those national teams. Yes, I think two players on Spain team who were not born Spanish. Matter of fact, who is it again? Now come back. Guess. But I know there's a popular player who would never born in Spain. A matter of fact, he's a play for another country or vying for another country, but he couldn't make that country team there. And he makes Spain team. Come on, people. Wherever you are, as long as you're linked to Jamaica, no matter, even if you're your great great grandmother or grandfather, if you're eligible to play and you are good, better than who we have here. Go with it. Good. That's just the way it is. Some things will never change. Yeah, and trust me. So again, my people, if these are the things that we are looking for, we have to be sure. Yeah, we have to be serious. The white, yeah, no way. Might as well we they go back for a tapper. You see, the problem we have, the problem we have with that tapper is the same issue I go on when he was there. The manipulation. Yeah, the manipulation. What you say about Diego Costa? He's a coach too. All right. So, people, these are some thoughts, but this is where I have to say good night and goodbye to you all. Thank you very much for staying this close. So, as usual, best of yourself, man. You carry the show right through. So, blessings and honesty to you. Yeah. Vasa, good, good for the little link up. Yes. Oh, you're talking about where they're born. Yeah, man. A whole lot of people born outside of the country. All right. Ball of life, respect for your thoughts and your suggestions, your talk. You made a lot of sense and give us useful information as well, just for all of you. And I want to say big up yourself for all of that. Firstly, you don't know, big coach. No matter what some people say, you know, Pessoa is just like that still. But bless up and thanks for joining as well. You know, I want to say big up to my co-host, Mr. Lee, who is presently fell asleep. He fell asleep, boss, and he's still asleep. Can't believe it's Ali. All right, big up, man. And Palm Stranger who came in early, bless up yourself. Horace, I want to say big up out of Canada and all of that. I want to say a special thank you to Paul. Yeah, man. Paul from the Witty Club. Yeah. What's this whole link there that's coming from RR? I don't know what the link about, you know. JM, 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 we say Jamaica football. So, Paul, big up yourself and thanks for joining. I guess join as usual. You can imagine join us at 3 a.m. in London just to be a part of the show. People, again, share the content, hit the like button, and of course, your subscription. It's free, you know. Remember that. Again, thank you. And this is where we say, people, goodbye until then. Hopefully, I'll see you soon. Don't be surprised if you see me by tomorrow in a midday show. All right? Bless up yourself, God. This is the Saudichress show. Yeah, man. So, as me say, we'll talk and more so another night.